Welcome to Executive Spotlight from AutoSuccess. I'm Maddie Weiner, filling in for Brian Ankney, and joining me today in the studio is Yaron Saghiv, Chief Marketing Officer for UVeye. Yaron, thanks for joining me today.
It's great to be here.
I'm excited to talk to you today, and to start off, can you just tell me a little bit about yourself and the career path that brought you where you are today with UVeye?
Sure. So I've pretty much been, after a military service in the Israeli army as an officer, I've pretty much been in startups all of my career, which is now 15, 16 years.
Wow.
And basically, I've mainly been in more consumer-related startups, but around 2016, a good friend of mine, which is Amir Hever, he's the CEO of UVeye, started a company to solve a very, I would say, a simple problem, which is doing a much better job than a security guard looking for bombs below vehicles. And that product had a lot of demand in the homeland security market. And around a year or two, it took us to understand that it's a much bigger opportunity in automotive, in that kind of computer vision and AI model and make agnostic way we were solving it back then.
Yeah.
And he offered me to come and take that journey to help him and market it towards automotive around 2018.
Wow.
And before that, I've also done marketing in other startups, as I mentioned, but in automotive now since 2018, and moved to the States and happy with UVeye.
Very cool, very cool. Well, I know there's a lot of growth that UVeye has experienced. So you all recently announced a partnership with General Motors involving loaner fleets. What advantages will dealers enjoy by scanning every vehicle for inspection? And how will that work?
Okay, so UVeye, we provide automatic inspection kind of devices that it almost looks like an MRI for your car at the service lane, but it's a full dealership tool. And we are installed in over 300 locations today across the United States.
Wow.
This relationship with General Motors goes back to 2022, where they kind of saw the benefits of using our systems with their dealership network. And they offered incentive programs for dealers to use UVeye and join kind of our network and use this technology.
Okay.
And since then, we've been developing more and more use cases besides selling more tires, selling more alignments, educating the customers on DOT, expired tires, sidewall damage, things that could be wrong below the vehicle, right? Because we detect that automatically, whether it's tires, sidewall, tread, below the vehicle and exterior.
Right.
And we, from day one, we were doing a lot around service, but obviously a lot around appraisals as well, policy. And we just keep developing more and more APIs and more tools to support dealers, in different avenues of the business, where this relationship was a connection, which they developed OnTrack, which is GM's solution to check in and check out customers when you take a loaner vehicle, is now integrated with us.
Oh,
so
wow.
we're able to push the vehicle condition report or damages when a customer signs and takes their loaner car, and when they come back and then compare and see the two, almost like a rental use case.
Right.
But obviously in a very transparent and great customer experience. And also, obviously saving the dealer the cost of damages if they do happen. So
yeah, very interesting. Now, EVs have fewer moving parts for dealers to repair. So how can an automated vehicle inspection help dealers find other services to provide? And what are some of those services?
So when you drive through a UVeye system, we give you as many collection points as we can. And some things that maybe traditionally dealers didn't look at. I mentioned the DOT, right? So that's selling tires and alignments. Over 15% of tires in the States are over 5 years old. People don't really acknowledge that when you see the week and the year of the tire. And no service advisor gets on their knees to check the DOT each time. Yeah. But it's a safety hazard, because we are seeing here in Ohio and in a lot of other states, people driving on 10, 11, 12-year-old tires.
Oh, wow.
And people don't even know about that. So grasping those kind of opportunities, starting from tires, but then when you look at even new things like rim damages, that's something else that the UVeye system picks up. So we are able to help dealers now sell wheel restoration on site.
Oh, wow.
So we have a lot of dealers that are actually bringing in wheel restore devices. And as part of the check-in process before the write-up, they obviously expose all these issues below tires, around the vehicle. And in that way, they now develop a new stream of restoring and repairing wheels and rims on site. Same with paintless dent repair. So we want to have that kind of experience that a customer goes through. He has a complete visual image of anything that could be wrong with their vehicle.
Right.
I like to say almost like an Apple Store experience.
Yeah.
And once those things are detected, now it's up to the dealer to say, okay, what more can we do with this? There's also new products that we have around interior imagery. So when you want to do mainly for merchandising and kind of sales, new or used cars, we have also an interior camera that gives you a 360 inside. We can record the engine, so a few things there. But why not offer interior repairs as well?
Right.
Or obviously a body shop, collision, whether it's PDR on site or if it's part of the dealership network. So we're just trying to give, and the data speaks for itself. So there's a lot of issues that are just either not consistently checked or missed, or someone would go to someone else that's not the dealer to fix. So we are here to expose that, but also provide a really unique customer experience.
Yeah, it's almost like a health checkup for the customer's vehicle, but like you said, very transparent, where a dealer is kind of acting as a consultant for, hey,
or a doctor, right?
Yeah,
Here's your
sort
scan.
of like
Let's
that.
talk about it. So one of the things that General Motors have been looking is that the before and after UVeye, right? So as I mentioned, we've got hundreds of dealers. A lot of them are from the General Motors network, but Volvo as well. So all franchises.
Yeah.
One of the things that GM have noticed is that if a dealer installs UVeye a few months after, they will see a consistent rise of between 5 to 13 points in Net Promoter Score, which are those surveys of asking customers if they would recommend a dealer to a friend or come back and so on. So on one hand, we are showing them more things. It's a scan. It's objective. These are you have an oil leak here, low tread there, a bulge, a cut, a scuff on the tire, expired age, dents, scratches, also for policy. But once that's shown to the customer, I like to say it's almost like a triage moment. Okay, so you go to a hospital, you go somewhere, you see the situation, it's objective, somebody shows, and then you have a conversation about it. Right. So that's what we are trying to provide with customers eventually buying more because they need it, and they don't go to the Midas or the Pep Boys down the road, and they do it with the dealer, but they're also happier to do it because they get a transparent experience.
For sure. And that helps with retention, like you're saying. The customer, I assume, is more likely to come back, and there's that trust built, it seems like.
So actually, retention is another big thing. We have dealers that invite their customers to come back just for a safety scan, even if it's all green. Winter's coming, let's make sure everything's fine.
Right.
And the consistent approach of showing the scan each time and bringing them back to see those scans and expecting a scan, that is what builds trust and retention, even if they don't sell anything, even if we see that everything is green, underbody looks clean, tires are fine, you don't need to put the vehicle on a lift, you drive through, have a quick look, and come back in a few months and let's do this again.
Right.
And that provides a much more, I would say, transparent again, but a trustworthy relationship. And that brings people back because you're not selling them. You are looking together and providing them a service of just showing what's up with their car.
Right. Yeah. It's, providing them with safety, which is what everyone wants when they drive. Yeah. So Yaron, can you delve into the policy aspect behind this?
Yeah. So when you install UVeye in your service lane, that's kind of you want to grasp all the volume. That's whether it's, service vehicles, whether it's people who just came for the car wash, whether it's appraisals, trade-ins, new cars, everyone goes through. So you have eyes on what's going on at your dealership. And a big part of that is also having that transparency of damages that happen to vehicles. So every dealer knows that moment where a customer said, hey, you damaged my rim, you damaged my door, you scratched it. I gave it to you a few days ago or yesterday, and look what happened now.
Right.
And obviously there's the statistics on thousands of dollars a month that go on these policy and internal service kind of claims. When you have a system like UVeye, you drive through, it's evidenced, you can even see who's driving. And then you can see the history of that vehicle. And very much like the loaner use case, you can compare and see. So if you want to fix it as a gesture, you can or not, but our dealers are saving between 50 to 60% of policy costs a month.
Wow.
Just because everything is there and it's evidence. And if the rim damage was there before, customer knows it and he doesn't blame the dealer. But maybe the dealer will restore and fix his rim, right?
Right.
So the policy is definitely one of the immediate effects when a dealer installs UVeye.
Yeah, it's almost like a safety net for the dealer, and then also a selling tool, like we've talked about at the same time. So very interesting. Now, obviously, technology is always progressing. You've talked about some of the newer things UVeye has put out into the market, but I'm curious, what's next?
So we're very much focused, right? Dealers, auctions, and fleets and obviously the OEM relationships around those are very important to us. So, when you want to succeed, you cannot go and scan planes and trains, and, you got to focus. So we're installing in hundreds of dealers. We just opened a manufacturing facility in Indiana.
Okay.
So we are manufacturing in the United States locally. Our team is growing. And on one hand, we are developing more and more dealer network relationships, whether it's the big groups. We just recently installed in some of the big groups in the United States, like Hendrix and Penske and Lithia and Asbury Coons and some local groups that are really Jeff Weiler. We have systems and Reichardt, which is a staple in this area. So we're expanding our group kind of presence and relationship and developing tools for those groups.
Okay.
But then the OEM side. So Volvo and GM are very close partners of ours, and we keep working with them on different, kind of solutions, like the loaner use case, we integrate into Service Workbench, which is a tool for GM dealers, and we populate around 70% of the multi-point inspection. So that streamlines everything, and we keep doing those kind of things. We are working with other OEMs, so hopefully news soon, but we're working on more relationships to get to wider dealer networks as well. In the fleet space, Amazon is something that was published, so that's a big relationship for us.
Yeah, for sure.
And CarMax in the auction space. So we're trying to take that in these three spaces with the OEMs and expand it and improve it and have more integrations, right? We work with Techion today. We're announcing a few more integrations with different tools and DMSs coming soon. So it's just, continuing to expand this and scale and bring this service as a standard.
Right.
Because we believe that the customer experience and what happens to a dealership when they install UVeye and people can speak to dealers that use it, it's second to none. It's really something that is changing the industry. And it's really something that is evolving the dealership into a much more transparent and better experience. So it's just about evolving this as a standard, I would say, and expanding that scale.
Yeah, it sounds like it's an exciting time to be at the company, and you guys have a lot, coming forward in 2024.
Yeah, we are. It's very exciting because the automotive market here is on one hand very progressive, and adopting new tools, and even just like sitting here, it's there's a lot of communications and a lot of kind of opening people's minds to new technologies, new ideas, and so on. On the other hand, it's a very traditional market, right? So, I personally think that for us, on one hand, having the last 2 to 3 years to present this idea, work with the first dealers to see what they can gain from a system like UVeye. And right now, putting us at a point of scale where we are hiring dozens of roles in the United States.
Wow.
In different locations all across the country. We also recently started working a lot of the West Coast.
Okay.
So we got 2 offices in Jersey and in Atlanta, and we're hiring for both.
Wow.
We, as I mentioned, have a manufacturing facility both in Indiana and also in Montreal. So everything happens kind of locally.
Right.
So 2024 is a year of growth for us, for sure. We are, installing dozens of systems every month, working with new dealers, further expanding into existing groups and networks. So that's the year of scale for us, for sure.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, before we let you go here, I did want to touch on something you said earlier about Amazon. You all recently announced installing your systems in, I think it's 900 delivery stations. So I'm curious if you can go into that a little bit about, that relationship, how you're helping them, things like that.
Yeah, the exact number is not being disclosed, but basically
okay.
Amazon has hundreds of locations between the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Germany, which we already installed, and we did a long pilot and a relationship that grew for a couple of years, where they wanted to standardize the way they inspect their last mile delivery. So Amazon Prime vehicles, right? They own over 100,000 vehicles. They've got third-party partners, the delivery service providers that manage those shifts and drivers and make sure that your goods from Amazon Prime arrive on time, which is probably one of the best services in the world.
Right.
And we were thinking together how we can take our technology of inspecting vehicles quickly, looking below, looking at the tires, finding things that are important for them, a lot for safety, but also predictive maintenance. And, kind of match our technology with their needs and their standard. And that's how we developed what we call AVI, Automatic Vehicle Inspection. And today it's installed in over 20 Amazon sites and growing. But the announcement at the end of the year was that this is the chosen solution for them to make sure their kind of delivery station of the future, where they have a lot of other cool things happening, is consistently making sure the vehicles are safe on the road. If they need to be grounded before they go for a task, before some leak becomes a much more serious issue, or there's a nail at the tire, or worn tread depths or alignment issues, or even a bent cargo step. So before that even happens, we can catch it in the morning or at night when they come back, fix it on site, and let the vehicles drive safe. And obviously the data play is super, super interesting, matching and understanding geography with issues. That's a big play in fleets. Making sure their drivers are happy, but also, understanding when an issue happened and why it happened. So we just gave them the technology to really up the game in consistent inspection and with a very transparent relationship with their delivery service providers. So that's pretty big, and we're excited about it. We're installing, as we speak, in many locations. So coming to an Amazon Prime delivery station near you.
Awesome.
But that's a big deal. And we were happy also to think of more use cases around the fleet area, rental area. So a couple of more things, I would say, around that domain as well.
Yeah, for sure. That's fascinating. And I'm curious to see what, announcements come from UVeye and just the growth. Now, Yaron, before we head out here, is there anything more you'd like to share with us? Either about UVeye technology, the company's growth, that we haven't touched on today?
Yeah, I think, we're definitely, on one hand, what we provide is very unique, or I feel like makes sense, right? In terms of you just drive through and it gives you that visibility of everything going on without a lot of processes around it, which is great. But, we're always thinking about the next things, also with our OEM partners and with our dealer partners, whether it's the use cases and integrations, but also how do we become even more efficient for EVs? What can we find there? I talked about the merchandising and sales piece. So seeing UVeye as a full dealership tool or experience. So things around, we just launched a new appraisal tool to be able to have a transparent conversation with the customer on issues of their trade, right? With their trade. Because usually a trade wouldn't even go on a lift. But we're also looking on the merchandising side and the pre-delivery inspection for carrier damage. So we're just really trying to up our technology, add more sensors, add more collection points, and improve the processes where we can. So that's what's happening. We on one hand really scaling and working with a lot of new partners, but then trying to keep our technology up to speed with everything going on in the market. So that's kind of it.
Definitely a compelling solution for dealers out there. So very cool.
I think so, but okay.
No, that's great. Yeah. Yaron, thanks so much for coming on the podcast today. I've really enjoyed our conversation today.
Thank you. It's great being here.
Awesome. Thanks so much for watching Executive Spotlight from AutoSuccess.